Well, good morning, and a very grateful and happy Veterans Day to our over 327,000 Minnesota veterans. We're here at the St. Paul Veterans Center, and I want to thank Director Huerta and the staff here at the Vet Center. It's somewhat bittersweet that we would be at the Vet Center. The originator of Vet Centers, the original idea came out of the need of Vietnam veterans when they came home. Felt displaced. They didn't see the VA as a place they felt safe going to. And a Vietnam veteran who also at the time happened to be the VA secretary came up with the idea. That was Max Cleland, who we lost this week. Senator Cleland and his work, and at that time VA secretary under President Carter, created veterans centers where we met veterans where they're at to cut through the bureaucratic red tape and make sure veterans are being served by veterans, as you're seeing this counseling staff here. And this is a place where a veteran can come, whether it's a PTSD issue or it's trying to navigate the healthcare system or just a way to connect where they're at. And since 1979, they have continued to be expanded. I want to send a thank you to, at the time, Senator Klobuchar in 2008, the Senate, and I was in the House on this, worked on the first expansion of these and added about 90 vet centers across the country. And since that time, I think it was the 2012 NDAA went to mobile vet centers. And so this, the service that's provided on Veterans Day to our veterans is one of those commitments that we have. It's important to stop and pause and thank folks, but we've always said the best way we thank them is providing the services and the commitment of this country. If you ask any Minnesotan, they will tell you do whatever's necessary to make sure that our veterans are reintegrated back and they have the benefits they earned and the support that they need when they need it. And I'm just proud to say that the Vet Center model is one that works. It is cost effective. It consistently gets ranked by veterans as one of the favorite things they like about the VA, and I think here in Minnesota we have made great use of them. I'm going to give a big thank you to Congresswoman Craig and Congressman Phillips and Senator Klobuchar, and along with Senator Smith, who are authoring and pushing legislation forward. Minnesota actually is due for more vet centers, and we have a bit of a connection to VA Secretary McDonough from Red Wing, and he understands this, and he came up with demographics. The fact of the matter is that we usually try and get these to at least 1 to every 100,000 or less of veterans. We're about, I believe, Commissioner Herkey will have better numbers, 1 to 107,000, I believe, vet center. So we need to get a little more on that. But the commitment from Minnesotans to doing right by our veterans, a commitment to making sure that this is done as effectively as possible. And I just want to note and say a thank you to the Minnesota legislature this year. We had one of the most effective sessions around veterans, bipartisan, super productive, whether it was be in funding of new veterans homes, whether it was where the members of Congress and Senator Klobuchar was with us as we broke ground on veteran cemeteries to honor our dead. And then the Veterans Restorative Justice Act, that we do not want our veterans going into the criminal justice system. We want them coming into the vet center. We want them coming into the VA system. We want them to be able to know that that's the smartest and best way. That piece of legislation was bipartisan, proud to sign it into to law, and again, a budget that is as large as we've had in several decades, with an understanding our Vietnam veterans are still aging into the system, and since 9/11, the number of veterans that we've added to that. So this is an area that brings us together. I think I would just say that for all of us who've served, to my fellow veterans, the one thing years later that we always remember about our service is the sense of camaraderie and a unified mission. I think of all the times we spent in there, we didn't necessarily agree with each other on everything, but we certainly agreed that what our commitment was, what our mission was, and how we viewed ourselves together in that. And I think we can learn a lot from that right now across our country, and understanding that it's okay to have differences of opinion, but we share the same values and the same commitments, and to honor those veterans is for us to make sure we're doing that every day. And I know and I'm proud to be here with a federal delegation who voice is heard in D.C. It's certainly heard and felt here in Minnesota from the work they've done. So I'd like to welcome our senior senator, Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you. Thanks, Governor. Well, thank you, and what an amazing tour. Thank you, Director. Where are you? Director Huerta, right over there. And hearing the stories of the people that she serves and her staff serves. And I think we sometimes, when we think about veterans homes, we think about some of the new places we're opening that we're excited to add to the vets homes we have in the metro area. And we're adding one in Montevideo and in Bemidji and in Preston with joint federal-state support. And that was incredible because these veterans have been working on this for so long in those areas that they're probably going to be staying there not too far from now. But we also have to remember that day-to-day care that our veterans need, and that's what this is about. And I think especially some of our vets that have returned from the recent conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan and the Gulf War, this is going to be especially smart move to add more of these vet centers, and it's something we're working on right now, a major priority. Second thing I wanted to add was that the burn pits, when those of you that were here when the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, came home and visited, a lot of questions about burn pits. It's something I've been working on when we've lost a number of soldiers, including Amy Muller, who's a young mom with 3 little kids because of being stationed next to a burn pit. And good news today, people have been listening. Dennis has been working on this, and they actually announced a major effort to follow up something building on the bill that Senator Tom Tillis and I have on centers of excellence for veterans who have been located next to burn pits. Third thing is just the commitment that we make, and I want to thank the governor for his words, because all of us up here understand that when our vets signed up to serve, there wasn't a waiting line, and when they come home to this country and they need a job or they need health care, whether it be mental health care or physical health care, or if they need a home to live in, as we've all tackled, and the governor's made such a priority on veterans' homelessness, that they need a place to live. And that's our commitment to them. And this is a special Veterans Day for me because it's the first one where my dad wasn't here. My dad was a proud veteran of the Korean War, although he would always add, but I was stationed in Germany, where he would actually use his skills as a young reporter and would write leaflets to be used in the Cold War. When I first ran for office, he actually was, at the first month, he wanted me to have Veterans for Klobuchar bumper stickers. And when we didn't have them right away, he created his own, which created all kinds of campaign finance problems. But he kept giving them out until we had our own. So I miss him very much. He's buried at Fort Snelling. And I think every one of us has veterans that we love and veterans we think of today, but I'm thinking of my dad. So with that, I want to thank both Congressman Phillips and Congresswoman Craig for their great leadership. Angie has been really focused on some of the veteran suicide issues and other things in her district, and I give you Congresswoman Craig.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you. Well, I wanted to come here to St. Paul this morning to the Vet Center for one primary reason. I have made way too many phone calls of condolences this past year to spouses, to mothers in my congressional district of those we've lost by suicide. I drove here, and it took almost an hour to get here from the 2nd District where I live this morning. If I were coming from even further in southeastern Minnesota in the 2nd District, it would have taken me an hour and a half to 2 hours to get here. So as we went on this tour this morning, I've communicated to the governor, to the commissioner, to Dean, and to Senator Klobuchar that getting more of these vet centers around Minnesota is just a huge priority for me. As I think about all those families, like the governor said, it's really important that we say thank you to our veterans here across our country, but it's also really important that we get to work and we make sure that they're okay when they come home, that they have a home with a roof over their heads, that they have access to the mental health services that they deserve, and that also we make sure that they have access to a skill that's transferable from the military or active duty in order to get a good paying job and live a great life in this country. So it was really important to me to make this trip up to St. Paul this morning to communicate that we really need to make these investments across Minnesota, across our country. And with that, I'll also add to the 33,000 veterans in the 2nd District of Minnesota I've confirmed this morning that this center does have some capacity if you're experiencing any mental health issues, and that you can receive that care virtually or through telehealth at this moment in time. So just remember that, and on Veterans Day, we need to make sure that every day we're working on behalf of our nation's veterans. So thank you again. A colleague that I work with routinely, we call ourselves, and Amy, you can be part of this caucus too, the Common Sense Caucus in the United States Congress. But Dean Phillips is a great friend, a great colleague, and is doing some amazing work in the veteran space with a very personal story. So with that, Congressman Dean Phillips.
Thank you, Angie. You know, we are a nation that always finds the resources to send young men and women to war, and somehow can't find the resources to take care of them when they come home. And as Congresswoman Craig mentioned, it is personal for me. My dad did not come home from Vietnam. I went to St. Paul Central High School, grew up poor, couldn't afford college. I used an ROTC scholarship to attend the University of Minnesota, graduated from law school, served our nation in Vietnam, and was killed when I was 6 months old. And I think about him today. I think about all who served in this room, our governor, commissioner, the extraordinary staff here. I think about the tens of thousands who came home from Vietnam, who were mistreated, uncared for, and struggle to this day. And at the very least, as Minnesotans and as Americans, we must build the bridge for veterans who have served this country and ensure our freedoms, especially during such precarious times for democracy, both here and around the world. I'm blessed to have an extraordinary Veterans Council, veterans from various backgrounds, experiences, geographies, who share with me both the things that are working, and there are many, and I salute those, but also what's not. And what's not is too many people needing care, not knowing where to turn. When I learned that North Dakota has more vet centers than Minnesota, it troubled me. Nothing against North Dakota. Of course, I love North Dakota. But we have a lot of veterans that need help, and we need more vet centers. It was my council that recommended that we do something about it, and I'm pleased that we're introducing the Vet Center Support Act in the House and Senator Klobuchar in the Senate, with a simple mission to identify the barriers to why we don't have more and how we can better connect veterans to the services that they need, but most importantly, they also deserve. So to salute all of you who serve today, all across this country, you're on our minds, not just today, but every day. So lucky to be Americans, to live in this country at this time. So let's get to it. And with that, it's my honor to introduce our commissioner. Welcome.
Thanks, Congressman.
As a 30-year veteran of the Army, I've got lots of different opportunities to serve in a lot of different capacities. One of the most difficult ones is when you come back from a wartime experience. Your whole psyche, your body, your reactions and so forth are uniquely different when you're deployed than when you come back. I can say that I'm a veteran that has used a vet center for that transition period. It was key to my success to transition back into society, and I can say it still is a key for many of our veterans, over 300,000 here in Minnesota. The services here are excellent. The number, the training and so forth that they receive is extraordinary, and I can tell you that veterans feel very at home in a vet center. It's a different atmosphere than a VA hospital or a clinic. As a commander in the Army National Guard, I routinely referred my soldiers, in fact, working with, then it was First Sergeant Waltz. We worked together, and a lot of times we would just send NCOs up with soldiers that had problems on drill weekend. And that's a key item, that the vet centers are there on Saturdays to do that type of work. So it's an extraordinary resource. Minnesota has 3 vet centers in Minnesota, 2 of them in the Twin Cities and 1 out in Duluth, but we need more. There's really a gap in the southern and the western and the northern part of the state that really needs to be filled. This is a great resource, and I applaud all the help I'm getting here today to make that a reality. I think it's well past time, and I can say as my job as a commissioner is to make sure that the veterans get the benefits that they've earned and the care that they need. And this is an important part as I put together my plan for reducing homelessness within Minnesota, which we're doing a great job. Also, we're just starting on our plan as it relates to suicide prevention. We lose over 100 veterans each year to suicide in Minnesota. This is a key component to success for that. So I applaud the efforts here today. I would also like to say Happy Veterans Day to the veterans in Minnesota. And just to remind the audience here today, we would not be the land of the free without those brave veterans that have stepped out and put up the right hand to defend their country. And with that, I think I give it back to the governor.
We'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much.